What did the weird kid in your school do that you'll never forget? He wrote in my yearbook, when I was 6 years old, I went into a cornfield. I didn't realize it was a maze. I was stuck for several days without food or water. When they found me, the doctors said it'd never be the same. Good luck in college. Andrew Hooker made an album of electronica called Hook Anthems, and each one was a soundtrack for different mundane tasks of his life. He sold only one copy to a maths teacher, and it's also one of my life regrets that I didn't buy one too. That's not weird, that's visionary. Stole a car, crashed it, lost both his legs at 17. A few years later he did it again, but this time he stabbed one of the Good Samaritans who tried to help him, and shot at another one. He then led the police on an 8-hour manhunt through tropical jungle by detaching his prosthetics and hiding under the leaves and mud, and using a makeshift raft to escape downriver under the cover of nightfall. The newspaper the next day read armed and legless. The albino kid in school. He would take off running down the hallway with one hand straight out in front of him and yell, "White lightning." He was weird, but everyone liked him. Way to own it. Exactly. Good for him. Poured his juice on the table at lunch and suction cupped his mouth over it and inhaled it all like a Hoover when you put it directly onto a hard floor. He's a lawyer now. Sounds about right. Put a pig fetus head on the English teacher's car antenna. This is the second pig fetus story I've seen as answers to this question, which isn't a lot but still more than I would have expected. If I had a nickel for every pig fetus story I'd have 2 nickel, which isn't a lot, but it's weird that it happened twice. I'm not sure if he done this with anyone else, but he drew a picture of SpongeBob and Charizard brutally killing me and my friend, and then willingly showed it to us. I couldn't help but laugh, but it was actually very well drawn. I liked that kid. I'm guessing that it was in humorous taste then. One of my buddies would Photoshop pictures of everyone from the friend group's faces, including his own, into gay porn and all sorts of other shit. It was funny. There's a particularly memorable one that was really well done, but really fucking stupid, where me and one of the other guys in the group were getting railed by Ronald Reagan, Theodore Roosevelt, and my buddy Rilla's girlfriend. It was actually really well made, but good god it was foul. I need to find this image and post it to awful taste but great execution, because it was one of the more well done deepfakes I've seen. A few days before a pep assembly, anonymously posted signs all over school that said the cock is coming. Teachers and school administrators were obviously concerned but clueless. Smuggled a live rooster into the assembly, and partway through the opening speech at the assembly, whipped it out over his head as it went apeshit. Entire gym full of kids stood up and started chanting cock, cock, cock. Was not seen at school for a few days after that. I'm concerned and pleased with this outcome, cause you know, reading/hearing the cock is coming before something like that ends with someone on jail. Kidnapped a kindergarten from the bus stop and brought her to school claiming it was her daughter. What happened next? It's pretty anticlimactic. The girl who did the kidnapping has some behavioral issues and nothing happened with her as far as I know. My HS didn't notice until like second period, and by that time the police were involved. The little girl was returned, and the girl who did the kidnapping just had that stigma following her for the rest of HS. She barked at people and tried to scratch behind her ears with her foot and sniffed people's butts at recess. She was 14. Oh my god, you had a dog girl? Question mark. We had a cat girl. Exclamation mark. Exclamation mark. She would wear all black and had cat ears, cat gloves, cat collar, and even a ducking cat tail. And she would walk around the hallways meowing at people if she didn't like you for whatever reason. Because she never actually spoke to anyone. She would hiss at you and swat at you until you left. But sometimes she would ducking chase you. She had 2 friends, if I recall correctly, and she would nuzzle into them and purr. She was the only person who acted like this, and she was that way my entire high school years, albeit a year younger than me, and I'm pretty sure she was in the special ed classes. I graduated in 2018. And I often wonder where she is now and if she's still meowing at strangers. Edit. I can't believe my most upvoted comment is about a cat girl. Edit 2. I'm pretty sure I found her, just judging from my facial memory here, and she has a newborn as of this year. No cat ears on either of them. Exclamation mark. Which is good, I guess? Question mark. Unfortunately she got stuck in the vents and never came out. Some say you can still hear meowing in the hallways at 3 AM. He was generally very weird and erratic. One day he extracted a huge slimy bodger out of his nose, turned around to me and a friend, and told us full of glee, "Guys, look." Apostrophe. Then he stuffed it back into his nose. One day I asked him why he was so weird, and he told me with the straightest face, "The jester's cat affords one many liberties." Apostrophe. So I don't know if he was just weird or a secret genius. Maybe a bit of both. The jester's cat affords one many liberties. These are words to ducking live by. I want that on my ducking tombstone. This girl decided she wanted to be pregnant. She proceeded to ask probably half the people in our high school if they would impregnate her. And then when that didn't work, she brought a Ziploc bag and asked 4 guys to jizz in it. Everyone called her sperm bank after that. And I honestly can't remember her real name. She took an easy task and made it hard, but still couldn't close the deal. So, there was a guy at our school when I was a freshman that everyone called Wolfman, who was weird in all the bad ways. He claimed to have superpowers, teleportation, DBZ like energy creation and whatnot. All the girls said he'd just stare at them if they had class with him. He hung around us freshmen and did his best to flirt with the girls. For an example of his flirting, he once told a girl that while astral projecting, he saw her face on Jupiter. Needless to say, girls stayed away from him. He graduated though, and his brother started at the school. Now, Wolfman wasn't a tall guy by any stretch of the imagination. Maybe 5 feet at most. But his brother was a good foot shorter than him. He looked like he belonged in 3rd grade. He never got any taller. It didn't help that he always wore a child's Goosebumps jacket. That made people start calling him Goosebumps. He was even more convinced of his powers than his brother. But at least he was less sexually creepy. But that's all he had going for him. One memorable day I was in math class, and he started shaking violently. People ignored him. So he started flapping his arms around. Wondering if this was an actual seizure, the girl next to him put her hand on him and asked if he's okay. He growled back, "Take your hand off me. This power is too much to contain." She started yelling at him for faking a seizure, and he went back to normal death stare forward, grumbling about his powers. Makes you wonder about their home life. Maybe their parents emotionally abandoned them or something, and all they had were their imaginations and comics books and movies. Yep. My first thought when I read this post: one weird kid can be an outlier. 2 kids with similar delusions and constantly seeking attention from peers. Seems like domestic abuse. He would get almost fully naked to pee in the urinal. Was his name Butters? Nope, but he legit peed like Butters did. Pants all the way down and shirt all the way up under his chin. This was age 17 to 18 BTW. Ate a sheep eye we were supposed to dissect in science class. Man oh man. Aren't those things full of inedible, probably toxic preservatives? Day, but he lived to tell the tale. After one of my female friends rejected his advances, he proceeded to jump off of his roof twice and broke both of his arms. Second thing, he made a wooden weed pipe in wood shop and then tried to smoke out of it in class. Another weird kid, who I might mention probably had a cognitive disability, so I don't want to be mean, hid under a bridge in town and drank multiple bottles of Pepto-Bismol and then went to school acting like he was drunk. He attempted to get people to drink some with him and then went back to the bridge and tried to light stuff on fire until the police arrived. Another one, a truly Looney Tune of a guy, shortly after high school was caught with a large amount of guns in his trunk. Rifles, pistols and all that, and went to prison/jail over a multitude of crimes. Don't even think he was in a gang. Just pure insanity drove him to do insane things. Ended up in a mental institution because his parents bought him a new mattress, and while removing the old one they found multiple mason jars full of blood. No exaggeration, 2 gallons total. There was a police investigation and turned out it was all his blood. His only answer as to why was just in case. Was that Lance Armstrong building his stockpile for his tour wins? There was this huge guy, tall and wide, in our classes. To support his impressive body, he ate a lot. He'd bring an entire roll of cookies, like 20 plus, and stack them on one side of his desk. Then he would take one bite out of cookie number 1 and put it to the other side of his desk. Then he would take one bite out of the next cookie and place that one on top on cookie number 1. He'd go through the whole stack until all cookies were partially eaten and in a neat stack on the other side of his desk. Then would do it again. Take one bite of the top cookie in place that in the original side of the desk. Bite the next cookie, etc. After maybe 15 minutes of biting and stacking, the whole lot was gone. Now we weren't even supposed to eat in class, but he always got away with it somehow. If I was a teacher and saw that, I too would not mess with him. As a high schooler, I think everyone just out of respect would have left him be. Humped my desk for a solid minute while maintaining eye contact with me, and then said, "Thanks," and just walked away. I'm a guy. This was 15 years ago, on my first day at this new school, and I was just eating lunch at my desk, and this dude just walked up and went to town. No context, no introduction, nothing. Didn't even buy me dinner first. Just wham, bam, thank you desk, wham, bam, thank you desk. Just howled laughing at work. Thank you for that. Pulled down his pants in the middle of a public bathroom and span in a circle while spraying piss everywhere and shouting around the world. What a daft little punk. Robbed a gas station dressed as a ninja, armed with a katana. Stole cash from the register, all the cigarettes he could carry, and a bunch of lottery tickets. He then fled across state lines with a 17-year-old girl. He was 19. Not a great result for him. I was expecting the twist that one of the lottery tickets was a winner and he got caught because he tried to redeem the prize. Right? Maybe 30 years ago you could have gotten away with that. 7th grade. Guy didn't have a pen/pencil for the test and the teacher wouldn't give him one. You need to be prepared. Blah. Yeah. The dude took out a paper clip, straightened it out, stabbed himself, and started doing the test using his blood as ink. He was quickly sent to the nurse's office. Edit. Whoa, thanks for the love everyone. It was kinda a sad situation. The teacher shouldn't have done that, and I think the student was picked on a lot and not very stable in the first place. That's a power move. I wish I was savage as this kid. But I had a 3rd grade teacher who wouldn't listen to me when I said I really had to pee, only because I was 3rd in line at her desk. I peed on the ground, but not because of petty revenge, but because I couldn't hold it in. She announced to the class, "If you have to use the bathroom next time, just say you have an emergency and go." Was in the band during some downtime. Some guy kicks off his shoes and socks and bites the ends of his toenails off. Most of the class casually migrated towards the other side of the room. Not being a native speaker and mistakenly thinking toenails meant toes made this much worse. He attempted to follow, but his stumps just made it impossible. I'm from a small town. There was this weird kid who was a year older, but he was so weird that even the younger kids would pick on him. I didn't really know him, but I put him in the weird but harmless category. He graduates and then decides to rob the local taco time with a shotgun. Well, it is a small town. The kids working at the taco time all know him, and pretty much everybody in the taco time also knows him. He got 2 years. 2 years isn't bad for armed robbery. The weird kid on my block ended up robbing a bunch of pharmacies in the area because he was hooked on pain pills. Has serving 16 years minimum. First offense. So yes, 2 years seems light. Edit. Actually 2 years seems about right. 16 years seems extreme for the guy I'm talking about, especially for a first offense. More just pointing out the skewed sentencing. 8 styrofoam. And then, visibly, lied about/denied it when someone pointed it out. Bits of styrofoam came out of his mouth. I had someone similar eat glue sticks in my first school. In high school I was talking to this girl and she'd been eating this cheese bread. When she finished it, she proceeded to eat the napkin the cheese bread had been wrapped in. Why? Because it tasted like the cheese bread. I was freaked out and walked away. She proceeded to eat the napkin the cheese bread had been wrapped in. Yeah, that's weird. But kids, in high school, Oh. College. Halloween party. Weird quiet kid shows up in regular clothes, but wearing a giant strap-on with a doll baby attached to it in a certain way. He went as a baby rapist. What the duck? Exactly what everyone thought. Please click subscribe if you enjoyed this video.